Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bold City Civics. My name is Shelton Hall. I'm a local journalist, writer, broadcaster, podcaster, many other things. We're here today, or tonight, depending on when you're listening to this, to talk about Jacksonville, Florida, and some of the issues related to civics, politics, local governments, and how the community works in general. This will be interesting for those of you who've been here for a long time, who may be a bit older in age, but it will also be useful primarily for those of you who may be new to the city or may be new to discussing these matters if you want to find out more about how our city operates. So this episode today, we're going to start out just sort of going over the basic things you need to know about this place. Jacksonville, Florida was incorporated back in 1822, June 15th, 1822, to be precise. It was acquired from the Spanish via land grant not too long after the War of 1812, about late 1810s, 1820 or so. We are named after Andrew Jackson, who was the hero of the Battle of 1812, and he was also the first provisional governor of Florida. Our county here, Duval County, Jacksonville is the county seat of Duval. We'll get to that in a moment. Duval County was named after William Pope Duval. Duval succeeded Governor Jackson as the second governor of Florida. Jackson then, of course, would become president of the United States just a few years later. Next year, 2022, will be the 200th anniversary of the founding of the city of Jacksonville, and there will be a whole variety of events scheduled to commemorate that. We'll be talking about that in future episodes. These days, the city of Jacksonville and Duval County the two terms are thought of as being interchangeable, and essentially they are, as with most major metropolitan areas around the country. Jacksonville functions under a sort of consolidated city-county government, like one unified set of public works and things like that. Whereas up to about the mid-1960s, 1968, October actually was the formal start of what we call consolidation, when they consolidated the city and county government of Jacksonville and Duval County. This is necessary because with over 700 square miles, Jacksonville is one of, if not the largest city in the United States in the contiguous United States, in terms of land mass. I believe there are parts of Alaska, maybe Anchorage, that may be bigger. You can double check me on that. So as things stand now, we have a consolidated city-county government. We have 19 city council districts, 14 regular districts into which the city is divided, and then another 5 at-large districts that are that same landmass but divided into 5. So basically, depending on where you live in the city, you will have 2 city councilmen, your regular councilperson, mind you, and your councilperson at large. We have the mayor, the sheriff, the property appraiser, the tax collector, and those 19 city council seats all come up for grabs every 4 years in an election. And this is another unique feature of Jacksonville. Jacksonville, many cities tend to have their elections during even-numbered years, like towards the end of the year, sort of November, 2020 or November 22, kind of coinciding with presidential elections, gubernatorial elections, congressional elections, and whatnot. Jacksonville is fairly unique in the sense that our local elections happen in off years, in odd number years. The next one coming up will be 2023. The first round is in March of 2023, and the second round is in May. Now, when I say round, this may be distinguished from the way elections are typically done, where you have, say, a whole slate of Democratic candidates and a whole slate of Republican candidates, and on the primary day, the voters of both sides of both parties, mind you, each pick a nominee, and then the nominee of each party, they go against each other later in the year, usually in November, to decide who wins that election. What we do here in Jacksonville is a little different. it's not dependent on party per se. The political parties, of course, control a lot of the action with elections and how the city is governed, but party affiliation in and of itself plays no role in the electoral process here. All the names go onto one list, and every voter comes in and picks one person off that list. And the top two, that usually happens in March, coming up March 2023. The top two vote getters in each category then face off in a runoff election, a general election in May, unless, in some cases, if one candidate on the original slate in that primary election draws 51% or more of the ballots, they advance straight into, well, they win outright without having to go through a final round of elections. So that is a unique feature of our political system here, and it allows for a lot of flexibility as far as how candidates, particularly underground, lesser-known candidates, can market themselves and get their message out there to the voter, and also opens the door for shenanigans here and there, which I'm sure we'll be talking about a bit down the line. So from, as we know, the 2022 elections for fall into November of 2022, that's the midterm election. That covers all 435 seats of the House of Representatives, as well as about a third of the Senate seats, about half of the governorships in the country, and state house races in much of the country, including Florida, all of the congressional seats in Florida, as well as all of our local state house and some state Senate seats as well, all come up at the same time. That wraps up in November 2022, and then of course the local elections wrap up in May of 2023. So essentially, with this next electoral cycle that we're coming into, you're going to see almost every elected office in the state of Florida coming up for grabs within 1 6-month period. It's a very exciting, chaotic, almost battle royal type atmosphere. This moment as we're recorded right now in 2021 is kind of the calm before the storm. As this year wraps up, we build into the 2022 midterms. That rolls right into the 2023 local elections. And then by the time that's done, summer 2023, we've got basically the precursor to the 2024 super election cycle, where all the congressional seats come up for grabs again, as well as another third of the Senate seats, and the other half of the governorships, and then all the state house elections and such. Again, so it's going to be quite a lot of fun. We'll be talking more about that in future editions of the Bold City Civics podcast. Reach out to us. All of the information you need to contact us will be in the link in the description box down below. We will also encourage you to send us any ideas, suggestions, questions you may have, and we'll also begin putting together a little miniature sort of reading list for those of you who are listening and may want to supplement your studies with other materials from throughout cyberspace, as they say. So we're going to wrap this episode up. We'll be back soon. My name is Sheldon Hull. Thank you to our founder, Mr. John Lewis Meeks Jr. This is the Bold City Podcast, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.